Hey people, this is part 3 of Nephilim Giant series. Hopefully you just watched the last one and it's still fresh in your mind. In the Hebrew it was talking about had them lure of all in place. Got them all in the place you wanted. And in the Greek it was talking about the wage of it too on knickers, on to call, on the knickers, on to go get a woman. The knicker hers on to call. And I read down through 3 in that last movie. And so I'm going to start here with this, the Gigantes has on epithages in tays come the rays, echinays. And that's what people miss. And when you translate the Bible, it loses all of these sayings and rhymes. And it loses all its meaning. And you see that come up again, it's halfway through. And at the bottom, it's going to finish off with the oi. It's going to have an oi, the ois, and oi. So this and the, it doesn't say and the, it says the and. And you'll see here, this is and or but, it's the D. And this is the oi, and they'll give it the. And here again, the oi is the, and then here it's the, and here it's the ones, and it's the, and here it just didn't fit, so it was left out. And you see the D is the and. And so it's not and the, but it's the and that just don't add up, And means plus, and it's not the plus, it's plus the. D is just the in all the languages. The D and the TH interchange is exactly what that says, the. And to call, the oi, the call, the gigantes. This word separates and means a lot of things. You can see here in the Latin, this is the closest, the gigantes. You see the D here, that's the, and the gig is here, and that's a jig. That's a dance. And ante is this previous. And ante is, when you're playing poker, you have to ante up, and that means before you get your cards. And so this is the gig before, the dance before. And I once played poker with a guy a long time ago from Alabama, and when it was time to ante up, he would say, represent yourself, put something in the pot that represents yourself if you want your cards. He's trying to get a woman, and you got to go through the dance before. You got to wine her and dine her and take her out dancing and tell her how beautiful she is. Oh, the gigantes, the dance before has on epithages. And so when they say big, they mean big for a bean, the gigantes, a savory dish of large beans, big lima bean. So it wasn't a big task, it was just a short task. That's your word, jigging, a short. Same in Japanese, a short. Same in Chinese. A jig is a lively dance. But a gig is fishing or a one-night stand. It's where your word gigolo and gigolo got mixed up. When you're jig fishing, it's a whole bunch of up and down jerky motions. A whole bunch of little motions. You just take old hard plastic shrimp, that ain't fooling nobody, and you just jig it up and down. You make it dance. Make it do the jig. And a big old trout will hit that. In a gigabyte, it's not just a billion. It's a billion all jammed up in this one little card. And so it looks like, one of the main definitions that they might be missing here with this gigantes is the many representations. And to call the many representations as on. And so, the jig that represents, a gig, could be a dance, could be a short time, or it could be a spear, the spear. And the jig represents the day, the spear, and has on epithages in tays. And so epithages, they're trying to change the meaning of that. And it's coming from this old word epithet, and it means representation. It's all the different names of the gods. And the one that had the most epithages was Diana. And her earliest epithet was Trivia. And that was Hecate, the triple moon goddess, with Diana and Selena. An epithet could be used as a nickname to go with your title or to go with your name. The glorified nicknames could be used to represent one's style, how you get things done. And Fowler complained that the epithet is suffering a vulgarization that is giving it an abusive imputation. But epithet could also be a geological reference. It could be something added to that name to tell where you're from, where you're at. Epithages are like appendages. They're all the extra links added to a part of a word to give it a different meaning. And so it could be like this, or it could just be a couple letters added to a word. Like you see in this word for those, is this akinus. And here's the same word, 1565, akino, with different epithages. And then a little lower here, those again, 1565, akinoi, got a little different epithage on it. Oh, the Gigantes has on epithages. And so this epithages, this could be, the pi, is the circle. This gis is a location. It could be the circle, this location upon the earth. Oh, the many representations has on epithages. In Tisum the ray, Selena is emit. And so this word here that they say those and that, this is the word for light and knowledge in disguise. And so in Tisum the rays, what shines from, and this is SE, and the KE becomes the LE, and it's the Selena is emit, UMET, usually means with, met. And this is one of the qualities of Selena, which is an epithet of Diana as Hecate. This KE then turns into the LE, and this is Elena. And then down lower here, this one turned into Elenoi. And as Elena, this was the female name for noble, for bright, light. Coming from the Greek Helene, that's where they named their country for, Helen, for Selena. The name Selena coming from the Greek Selos, meaning light, bright. And then in is in Tays, and come the ray Selena admit. It means, come the ray, the light shining off of Selena. And Selena means the end of the month. Come the end of the month. What rays Selena emit? She only gets her time at the end of the month. And the Lino, the light has on, they Sephiro, they Sephiro unto call way via the way it of thee of. The light is on the Sephiro of the moon, silver, white. And the Sephiro is said to be the fruit. You see it in the pictures, it's on the end of the limb like the fruit, the real round balls. But it looks like, to separate. And they spore want to call the way it of the moon is the of, and it's forced as together as stone, forced together as tawn, as fashion on thereupon, wage and nose on have to is for themselves. This is where your word haughty, somebody's haughty, they've been eating it all. But to have to is the have toys for themselves. And to know, this is that same word, el lino. Now and to know has on call. The Gigantes soy, soy is me or mine, to dance for me or me dance for, to dance for me, they call her Gigantes soy, dance for me, or a paean soy, to pay on me, on their few, on their poi, on their few call onomastoi. And that's where this onomasti comes from, the 6 tits. Selena was part of the trio of Hecate. There was 3 of them, 6 tits. And they were moon phases, and Selena being the waning crescent. And that's after the full moon. The full moon is Diana. And then as it's waning, that's Selena. And then after new moon is Hecate, until the full moon, Diana. So as Diana, she's known as this multi-breasted god. And they was the god of all the crossroads. There was 3 of them back to back. And each one of them had many epiths. And that's what this is, the way it of force together as dawn. On thereupon the wage and knows on, the job and knows on, have to is, the know has on call, gigantsoi, dance for me, a pay on soy, the pay on me. This is John. This is where your word Johns come from. Somebody who sees a hooker, the one who's paying, a pay on. And it actually reads different with these markings here. And it's actually the god of the papaya. It's reading the P-A-P and the A-Y-A. On the papaya on knows to call. And on there a few call onomastoi, and calling different epiths. So Selena flies 2 white horses across the sky, and her siblings are the sun and Venus. She represented a dark sky because when the moon is in Selena, it's dark all night. It goes down before the sun, and it just comes up before the sun early in the morning. And she also appears on horseback in the Gigantomachy, the ancient war against the Gigantes. And they say in 380 BC these Gigantes were pictured with snakes for legs. And they'll say this Gigante is usually taken to imply earthborn, which in the Hebrew that would be, the arch yield. And she was the epithet of Artemis when Titos, the giant, tried to rape Leto. She called out to her for help. So the references of the giants are sparse in ancient writings. Neither Homer or Hesiod mention anything about the giants battling the gods. And so that's the only 2 places this word's used. So it's real easy to misinterpret a word that's not used much in ancient writings. But this word for this war, it looks a lot closer to a medical operation, a gigantomachy, the many to match. And if you read here the giants, the Greek mythology, down here under Apollodorus, it sums it all up. That Earth sought a certain plant, the pharmacon, that would protect the giants. And so being this giants means many, it sounds like a vaccination. And anytime you get too many together, that's when you start having disease outbreaks. So I pull it off and line it up different. And it's easier to see now that this word sephiro is ever who unto, taking the turns, his ever unto. And so, the many representations has on epithages, into his come the rays of Selena, amid to the end of the month, the light is on his ever unto, whoever's turn it is, the light is on his ever unto call, to joy, to with who, force together as fashion on thereupon. Wage and nose on have toys. Have to is Illinois. The to know has on call. Giga anti soy. Soy, many representations, Giga anti soy. To call the many representations, Pay on is soy. The pay on, what day, the payoff. On there a poi, on there a few call, the onomastoi. So I covered this a little bit in the Hebrew already. In the next movie, I'm going to read lines 1 through 4 in the Hebrew. I'll get it all in there. And I got this other line pulled off in the Greek and the Hebrew where it used this word Nephilim twice in this one line. And like I said, this is the only 2 places in the Bible that talks about the Nephilim, in this line and in Genesis 6.
Don't forget. I won't forget.
Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.